The Snow Summit Resort, 7,500 feet above sea level and adjacent to Big Bear Lake in the San Bernardino Mountains, is a mountain biking mecca for Southern California cyclists. It's also the site of GT Bicycles Downhill Mania. The top downhillers and slalom racers will compete against each other and Mother Nature, as a freak storm has provided some late-season rain and snow. It's foggy, muddy, fast, and it's only on Prime Network. We are in Big Bear, California for GT Bicycles Downhill Mania, presented by Bud Dry and Smith Sport Optics. And hi again, everybody, and welcome. I'm Bill McDonald, along with an old friend of mine, Dean Bradley, who knows just about everything you'd ever want to know about mountain biking. And you're going to need to know it because we've got a unique event here today, Dean, at Snow Summit.
There's never been anything like this, Bill. We got 4 riders on a downhill course at the same time. 1 rider out there is crazy enough, but 4 guys on the course, it's going to be madness out there.
You use the word crazy. You know what's crazy? The weather. It's absolutely unbelievable. It's freezing. It's June, and it's sloppy up on the hill.
For the first time since 1925, it snowed in June in Big Bear, California, and it's ironic that promoters spent the time watering the course throughout the week, so it is mucky out there at best.
We will see some slalom. Tell us about what we'll see, and tell us about some of the favorites.
The dual slalom is based on a ski-type format. 2 riders on the course at the same time, going through similar gated courses, and the bikes are roughly modified mountain bikes, but essentially the bikes that they'll be riding are the same bikes you buy in department stores.
And then the downhill.
Downhill, the bikes are more specialized front and rear suspension. They have higher gearing, specialized braking. They're very exotic bikes, and we'll be taking a closer look at those later.
And truly, we have some of the best competitors from around the country and around the world here, don't we?
Absolutely. The best competitors in the nation are here. We even have some European riders, but you'd be tough, pressed to find any better talent in the world today.
We are just about set to go. When we come back after this, it's up to the hill. GT Bicycle Downhill Mania, Snow Summit, California. We'll get to it after this, so don't you move. GT Bicycles Downhill Mania is being brought to you by GT Bicycles. It's your world. Ride it. By Bud Dry. Why ask why? Try Bud Dry. And by Smith Sport Optics. It's all in how you look at things.
Why is it always the same old story? Why ask why? Try a less filling beer with a lot more taste. Bud Dry. When it comes to a great beer, we wrote the book.
Sport Chalet.
Sport Chalet's huge summer kickoff sale is on now. They've slashed prices on thousands of items throughout the store, like name brand athletic shoes starting at just $29.88. You'll also save on camping gear, home fitness equipment, bikes, tennis rackets, and scuba. Sport Chalet has also reduced prices in its fishing and water ski departments. So hurry in now. This is one sale you won't want to miss.
Sport Chalet.
Cabo San Lucas, where land ends and paradise begins at the Hacienda Beach Resort. Cabo's luxury hotel with old world charm. You'll never run out of things to do. It's a year-round playground. You can do everything under the sun or nothing at all. Hacienda Beach Resort, 4 days, 3 nights, only $2.99 including air. You can't afford to stay home. Call 1-800-SEA-CABO.
Downhill time, and Dean, if the earlier rounds are any indication at all, we're going to have some fun. Tell me about the course.
The course is very steep, it's very technical, and it's going to be really fast today, even though we got really messy conditions out there.
All right, now the course is over a mile long, so what can we expect?
Well, Bill, let's start on the top. The beginning of the race course is a moderate descent, so the racers with the powerful legs, like the BMXers, who can get the whole shot, get out in front of the pack, will have an excellent advantage because about a quarter of the way into the course, it gets narrow and fast, and there's little chance for passing.
Now, we've been seeing a lot of action at the end of the course.
Yes, toward the end of the course, the riders come into the final drop-off, and it's here they're going to try to make those last chance desperation passes. The terrain here is extremely muddy, and the corners are off camber, so the riders are coming in fast, and the lucky ones will be making it out.
With that, let's take a look at some of the fun in the earlier rounds of the downhill. And as we mentioned, the weather today has been a real factor. With a foot of snow last night, rain yesterday, and clouds moving in and out today, every race has been unique. It's been a real test of endurance for the racers. The ride to the top is very cold, and conditions at the start are freezing. A cold quarterfinal number 1 started in the clouds and featured Kurt Voorhees, Robert Naughton, Josh West, and Brian Lopes. Unfortunately, Voorhees would be starting the race with a flat front tire.
What happened to your front tire?
It went flat on the lift. I don't know. It just, when I was coming up, must have pinched it. I had my foot out, and there was mud in the pedal. And when I went to put it back in, it wouldn't go back in. I hit a corner too hard. It just went over. But I regained it back. I got second back.
First out of the gate was Brian Lopes with a great start with Naughton close behind. But by the finish, Naughton had taken over the lead, and he and Lopes would advance into the semi-final round. Meanwhile, West would join the Flat Tire Club and duel with Voorhees for third.
Josh West in the lead, looked back only to find that his trouble was in front. Washing out West had what seemed to be a very painful encounter with the ground, while Voorhees came in for a glorious third-place finish. Josh, not wanting to be outdone, made a triumphant finish of his own. In quarterfinal number 2, GT's Jimmy Kite got the whole shot and splashed his way to an early lead, followed by Mike Buff, Bernard Unaha-Biscay, and Mitch McBeth, who was making a charge to overtake third.
Into the final series of switchbacks, and that last drop-off, third-place McBeth goes head over heels into the brush and gave back his position to Unaha-Biscay. While Kite took the easy win, Buff followed him in second position.
Quarterfinal number 3 featured Jesse Beck, Bill Rogers, Jake Watson, and BMX Marvel Pete Lonkarovich, who quickly hopped into the lead.
But by the midway point, Rogers had moved to the head of the pack, and Watson pushed hard, taking second from Pete Lonkarovich on the flat right before the final drop. Jake Watson then powered down the traverse to overtake Rogers on the inside and move into first, all in one massive move.
This was some of the best racing we saw all day. Watson and Rogers move on into the semifinals. Leading the pack out of the gate in quarterfinal number 4 was Chris O'Driscoll, a virtually unknown BMXer who has been burning up this course. Chris was chased by Rex Haywood, Jed Fox, and Mike Highfield.
By the midpoint of the course, Haywood took over the lead, but almost gave it back at the top of the final traverse. Any bigger a bobble, and O'Driscoll would have retaken the lead for sure.
Chris instead would have to be satisfied to move into the semis in second place behind Haywood.
Red course ready? Blue course ready? Racers ready? Go!
And Dean, we are set now for the slalom, and there's a good look at the course. Tell us what we can expect, the red and the blue.
Well, Bill, we've got a very elaborate course here today, the red course and the blue course. It starts with a starting platform, followed by the tabletop jump, then a pro jump, which is a drop-away jump on down to the finish line. Now, the competitors will be taking 2 runs, combining their times, and the fastest will go to the semifinal.
12 gates to negotiate as our riders now, of course, getting those tires cleaned up for that all-important start.
Bill, as we mentioned earlier, it is extremely muddy up here. The knobby tires are caked with mud.
Semifinal number 1, Jesse Beck right now with a 1.396 lead over Tyson Morosic, who has to win and win big.
Well, the red course is faster. There's some rocks in the blue course. I think up about halfway through, make it a little slower. Some of the turns are a little tighter in the blue, so they're pretty close though.
Jesse, which is it? Is the red faster or is it even? Right now, Jesse, though, on the blue. And Tyson Morosic needs a big ride on the red. Underway, semifinal number 1.
Watch Morosic through these first couple gates. This is where he's going to gain that critical advantage. Beck bobbles, goes wide on that second gate. Morosic a couple gates ahead, but will it be enough to advance to the next round?
Morosic crosses the finish line first, but he has to finish by a wide margin to win the semifinal and advance to our final. It should be close. Look at Morosic. Comes out in his jeans and a sweatshirt, and he really got the job done. Here's where Jesse Beck bobbled here, Dean Bradley.
Let's take a look at that critical second gate, Bill. Look at Jesse. He goes over the berm, goes wide, and he barely makes it through that third gate.
Here is the result. And Morosic advances to the finals by 1/1000th of a second. Unbelievable. We get set now for semifinal number 2, and it's cold. Somebody start a fire. And just how cold is it, Kiyomi Waller?
Just that you can't feel your the ends of your fingers or your nose, and your front teeth are kind of numb, and you can't feel your upper lip, and you don't know if you're talking right. But other than that, it's fine.
This is going to be a classic battle between Kiyomi Waller, professional BMX rider, used to riding 20-inch wheels, and Mike Bohannon, mountain biker.
Bohannon right now holds the advantage, so Waller has to cross the finish line and win pretty big. And they're off, and this should be a great one, Dean.
It certainly should, Bill. Again, Kiyomi Waller, new at this sport. Bohannon has this big lead over that tabletop jump, but watch Waller. He can catch up because he is a professional BMXer used to short sprints on fast courses.
And at the finish, Waller goes down, but Bohannon will finish, and he should advance to the finals. But Waller takes a tumble right there at the end. That's great stuff as long as he's okay. Let's take a look at the finish. Bohannon moves on.
Just like I said, Bill, Kiyomi is used to short courses and fast sprints. He takes a tumble. That's nothing new for Kiyomi.
So our finals are set, and we'll be back with them after this. GT Bicycles Downhill Mania is being brought to you by GT Bicycles. It's your world, ride it. And by Mountain Bike Action Magazine, the world's #1 mountain bike magazine.
To easily one on the snow, yes! Nobody on. Fly ball, he's getting it done. Gagnani looks up, goodbye! Myers hits a home run. Alomar doesn't stop. Salmon's got a gun. Oh, baby, what a throw! Prime Ticket, the home of pro beach volleyball. Come on!
Prime Tickets Wet and Wild is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, offering low fares and convenient flights to many exciting destinations. Southwest Airlines, it's just plain smart.
Get into the action. Get into Prime Ticket.
We are back at Snow Summit, coast to coast on Prime Network. I'm Bill McDonald, along with mountain bike wunderkind Dean Bradley. We are getting set now for the dual slalom finals, but first let's take a look at who captured third, and it's Kiyomi Waller outlasting Jesse Beck to garner that third spot. Now up at the top, Mike Boom Boom Bohannon going up against Tyson Morosic. This will be their second run. And we'll take a look at the advantage right now that Bohannon has before this final. But who the heck is Tyson Morosic, and why is he here?
Well, I didn't know I was going to do this. I was cold, and I just woke up on the couch and said, let's go racing. My other bike didn't have brakes, so I just threw this together and came out here, and I don't know what happened.
So there is hope for those watching at TV sitting on the couch right now.
Yep, get up and do it.
That's exactly how we got you, Dean. Just pluck you right off the couch. Here we go with the final. Boom, boom, and Morosic, they're underway.
Keep an eye on Morosic. He has to make up almost a full second to advance.
Morosic on that faster red course with a big lead early, but here comes Bohannon. Off of the jump, here comes Bohannon. It's pretty neck and neck all the way down to the finish, and Bohannon with style comes across the finish line first.
Talk about style, Bill. Tyson Morosic gets his butt up off the couch and makes it into the finals.
But it's Boom Boom Bohannon who comes back and wins easily, and Dean is now down with our winner.
I'm here with the men's dual slalom winner, Michael Bohannon. Michael, that was a wild final. Looks like you're a little out of control out there.
Yeah, I was definitely on the edge. My game plan was to try to stay smooth, but I started to slide in the corner. I had to let it run, and I was kind of on the edge.
Now, what's it like going up against an unknown like Tyson? How do you go up against somebody like that?
That's just it. You don't know what he can do. He hasn't proven yet. He hasn't really been around, so you never know what he can do. It's kind of scary.
Well, it seemed to work out well for you today. Congratulations on the win.
Thanks a lot, Dean. Thanks.
And as far as downhill action goes, the semifinals had it by the fistful. Semifinal number 1 featured Robert Naughton, Brian Lopes, Jimmy Kite, and Bernie Ubisquet.
Jimmy Kite again gets an amazing jump out of the gate and quickly grabs the first slot. The clouds came down and Kite raced blind with Lopes hot on his tail.
Coming out of the midsection of the course, Jimmy held a healthy lead, but Lopes in second took a fall, stacking things up.
Ubisquet takes advantage of the situation and makes a pass on the flat, just in time to lose it again as Lopes dives beneath him to regain second place and move into the final behind Kite, who rides in to an easy victory.
Earlier, we had a chance to talk to Jimmy Kite, the winner of semi number 1, about his winning equipment.
My GT RTS 1 is dual suspended. It's got a rear no-lean shock and front rock shocks up front. For these conditions, since it's so muddy and really snowy, I've got a chain guard on the bottom down here, which is to keep the chain from falling off with chain slack and stuff. So my team manager, Doug, made that for me, and all the guys at GT made that to help keep the chain on and stuff, which becomes a big problem. And I've got a little guard here that keeps the mud from flicking up in my face. So when you're riding through the snow and stuff, the mud that does fling into your face, this catches a little bit of it and keeps your vision a little better.
Did you try a lot of other bikes before you settled on the GT?
I've ridden a few bikes, but this one's pretty good. I like it, so I'll probably ride this as long as I can.
All right, I go to the store. How much is this going to cost me?
Oh, $3,000.
But it's worth it.
It's way worth it. It's the best bike.
In semifinal number 2, we saw Earthquake Jake Watson, Tom Rogers, Rex Haywood, and Chris O'Driscoll. But for all we knew, Dean, it could have been anybody.
When the fog cleared, it was new kid Chris O'Driscoll with the whole shot and maintaining the lead, while the wily veteran downhiller Jake Watson sat back in second and waited for the right opportunity.
Well, I'd say the semi had to do mainly with the big word of consistency. You know, I'm sitting back and just letting for someone to make a mistake. Chris O'Driscoll was flying, just moving great, but his legs were getting off on the wrong side of the bike a few times, so I predicted he was going to go off on the turns, and sure enough, he was up and over the bike, and he was ahead of his bike, and that wasn't a good thing. And so I took it from there and just felt confident from there. It's not so much the start, but big thing is the visibility. I have my goggles for the first minute of the downhill that I tear them off, because you just can't see anymore.
So winning semi number 2 was Earthquake Jake, and advancing to the final with him was Rex Haywood. GT Bicycles Downhill Mania is...
We live in a world of illusions. You see something, you think it's real. Sometimes it is.
Sometimes it's not. Like counterfeit hair care products that look like Paul Mitchell or say they have the same formula, like the ones you might find in drugstores or supermarkets. Don't be fooled by their looks, because we can only guarantee they're Paul Mitchell if you get them in a salon.
Remember, what you see
isn't always what you get.
For a Paul Mitchell signature salon, call this number.
Cabo San Lucas, where land ends and paradise begins at the Hacienda Beach Resort. Cabo's luxury hotel with old world charm. You'll never run out of things to do. It's a year-round playground. You can do everything under the sun, or nothing at all. Hacienda Beach Resort, 4 days, 3 nights, only $299, including air. You can't afford to stay home. Call 1-800-SEA-CABO.
Sports Chalet.
The next time you need sports equipment, visit Sports Chalet and choose from a huge selection of top-quality brand name equipment for every sport. At Sports Chalet, you'll find what you need in stock and at prices you can afford. You'll also be pleased with the service you receive from our professionally trained sales staff of sports enthusiasts. So, like Norbert says, at Sports Chalet, we'll treat you like one of the family and fit you like a pro.
Whatever sport you play, Sports Chalet.
In our Bud Dry Competitors Close-Up, meet Hans Ray. He is bicycling's extremist, having won national and international titles in the highly technical sport of trials. He is always looking for new challenges and obstacles to test his skills and courage.
I'm still doing the competitions, the trials riding. I do the downhill, more like for fun, and it's just such a rush, you know. I do the slaloms, but I just want to push the limits up, you know. That's why I go up on glaciers and ride my bike down, or ride on the hot lava on volcanoes, and just do things people never thought of that would be possible, and always push the envelope a little bit.
Dean and I are pumped up for the women's final, featuring Penny Davidson, Ann Hall, Jennifer Kuhn, and Michelle Bednar.
The fog thickened for the women's final, and the difficulties came early in the race. When only 60 yards from the start, Ann Hall and Jennifer Kuhn went down.
Several slips and slides later, Penny Davidson would be the Power Bar Women's Downhill Champ.
Oh, it was wild. There was a lot of snow, a lot of rain ruts, mud. You had to let the bike slide and hang on.
What was your strategy going into the main?
I wanted to stay ahead because it's pretty hard to pass once you get into it. But it's hard. You can't see how close people are behind, so you just got to go fast and hard.
You did that, Penny. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
The men's downhill final experienced a total whiteout at the top of the course.
Qualifying were Rex Haywood, the dark horse from Angland, California. Jake Watson, 205 pounds, 6'3" from Westlake Village. And national dual slalom champ Jimmy Kite from Durango, Colorado. And finally, Brian Lopes, the favorite from Mission Viejo, California.
Brian told Dean of his simple strategy.
Well, Dean, I think it's going to take, for one, staying on that bike. It's pretty hard staying on that bike and just being smooth and getting out front right away and just staying up to the bottom.
As planned, Brian Lopes did grab the lead from the start. Jimmy Kite would have liked to have done the same, but he had a contingency plan of sorts.
Besides a good start, just consistency. It's getting a little sloppy out there. Just not letting anybody pass you if you can get out front. And if you're not in front, just make it some sort of a pass that's clean, I guess.
Shortly into the race, Brian Lopes had established a 2-second lead on rival Jimmy Kite.
And as they descended out of the clouds, it was apparent that Lopes had lost Kite, and he was now being pursued by Rex Haywood. Lopes rode fast into switchback number 1, confidently banking off the berm. A quick glance told him that Haywood was closing. However, his charge would be short-lived, as the challenger lost control, exiting switchback number 2.
That was a costly mistake, as he was quickly passed by Jake Watson, then Jimmy Kite. Meanwhile, Lopes was starting to sense victory. The finish line, just 100 yards away, had to be a welcome sight after a grueling day of racing in some of the most adverse conditions ever.
So after starting with a field of over 200 riders, the field was narrowed to 4 for the final, and then again to 1, as Brian Lopes of Mission Viejo took the win. Second was picked up by Earthquake Jake Watson, while third went to semi number 1 winner Jimmy Kite. The dark horse Rex Haywood would finish 4th. Dino spoke with Brian after the big win.
I'm here with the GT Downhill Mania winner, Brian Lopes. Brian, tell us about that last ride.
It was cold up there at the top, Dean, let me tell you. I just got a good start right from the start. I just got out in front and just never looked back. I think Jimmy or Jake was on my wheel for a while, and I could feel him there going through the switchbacks. And then I just kept going, took my line smooth, and I looked back coming down these last switchbacks, and I saw I had a good lead, and I was stoked.
Did the weather come into play? We noticed that the weather is just moving down. It's really cloudy. It's really overcast. How was it?
It was cold, really cold, especially up there at the top with the wind and the clouds. It was very chilly.
All right, great ride, Brian. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot, Dan.
Congratulations, and we'll be back to say goodbye for the mountain after this. GT Bicycles Downhill Mania is being brought to you by Mountain Bike Action Mag. Whether you're going uphill, downhill, or totally sideways, Mountain Bike Action Magazine always gives you the straight scoop. And by John Paul Mitchell Systems. Look as good as you feel with cruelty-free Paul Mitchell Salon Hair Care products.
Out on the road or out on the trails.
Tested sunglasses and goggles from Smith.
Downhill Mania is being brought to you by GT Bicycles, because it's your world, ride it. By Freestyle, because timing is everything. And by Snow Summit Ski Resort, you gotta ride. If you're going to go fast, you better plan on crashing once in a while. The line between control and disaster is a fine one. And here is Smith Optics' salute to those who ride it. Congratulations to Bernard Unaha-Biscay, who wins the Smith Optics Wipeout of the day for this horrendous leg pincher at the end of semi number 1. Ah! And with the long, cold day now over, these were our 4 finalists in Downhill Mania. And of course, Brian Lopes crowned the champion here at Snow Summit. You gotta ride.
Recapping the men's downhill results, Brian Lopes in first, Jake Watson second, Jimmy Kite third, and Rex Haywood fourth. In the women's, Penny Davidson in first, Michelle Bednar second, Ann Hall third, with Jennifer Kuhn in fourth. And winning the men's dual slalom, Mike Bohannon.
That'll just about do it here from Snow Summit, Big Bear, California. We want to thank everyone that made Downhill Mania possible, and especially a big thanks to our sponsors, Bud Dry, Scott Sport Optics, and of course, GT Bicycles. And a special thanks to Dean Bradley. I'm Bill McDonald. Hope you enjoyed it, everybody. So long. Hotel accommodations provided by Marina Riviera Resort, Big Bear Lake, California.